It starts with this crude cardboard box. Most people are used to the polished, ritualistic packaging of modern consumer goods. But what you're looking at here refuses to offer any sensory flattery. This knife is called the Higonokami. In Japanese, kami, sho, refers to a historical title of lordship, but in the realm of metallurgy, it represents a sealed will. Look at these characters on the box Higonokami Sadakoma. This isn't just a commercial brand, it's a fragment of survival, handed down from Miki City, Hyogo Prefecture, since 1894. It wasn't born for a collector's glass case. It was born in the power vacuum left by the Heitere, the abolition of swords. It was the last shred of cutting dignity for craftsmen and commoners who had been stripped of their right to carry blades. It is cheap because it had to be universal. It is primitive because it pursues nothing but raw, absolute utility. Look at its frame. It's a design that modern precision manufacturing would consider barbaric. A single piece of brass, stamped and folded into a simple It lacks the traction of G10, the weightlessness of carbon fiber, and the clinical precision of aerospace aluminum. All it offers is the raw, primitive heft of metal, but hidden within this choice of material is a brutal logic of survival. Brass is soft. When the ultra-hard carbon steel blade is folded back, any collision will sacrifice the cheap handle to protect the expensive Ugame blue paper steel core. It is a class-based protection mechanism with a clear hierarchy of master and servant. Look at these characters. These 5 characters weren't etched with the sterile precision of a laser. They were slammed into the brass with a steel stamp. You can actually see the displacement away the metal squeezed and deformed around the edges of every stroke. It is a form of violence, but one that carries a human temperature. Now, let's cut to the only expensive part of this knife, its soul. Aogami Warakomi, blue paper steel lamination. Within Hitachi Metals classification logic, blue paper steel aogami represents one of the zeniths of high-carbon steel. This blade utilizes the classic Sanmai 3-layer forging technique, an outer cladding of resilient soft iron sandwiching a core of ultra-hard aogami carbon steel. When you push open this brass handle, you feel a raw, friction-heavy resistance entirely devoid of modern industrial lubrication. This is the true character of the Higonokami. Look at its design. No lockback, no liner lock, no flipper opening. It consists of only 3 components: a folded brass handle, a carbon steel blade, and a single pivot pin. This extreme structural simplicity is, in fact, a qualification test for the user. Do you see this metal protrusion extending from the spine? It is called a This is the only safety device on the entire tool. While cutting, your thumb must exert constant, firm pressure upon it. This means there is zero buffer between you and the blade. If you lose focus, or if you attempt flashy, superficial techniques during operation, this blade will immediately turn back and bite your fingers. It does not take responsibility for protecting the weak. It is merely a cold, physical entity executing a cutting command. This grip serves as a constant reminder. You are operating a hazardous instrument, not a toy. That dividing line cutting across the blade face. It is not a decorative pattern. It is a trench between metals. This knife displays an extremely primitive machine grin logic. Look at those fine, vertical longitudinal brush marks, perpendicular to the edge. Those are physical scars left by a belt sander rotating at high speed. It has never felt the touch of a handheld whetstone, let alone the hypocritical mirror polish found on modern high-end cutlery. This style of grinding is telling you, right now, it is merely a factory template, a semi-finished product waiting for its user to bestow a soul upon it. If you cannot handle the primal wildness beneath these machine-brushed lines, if you are chasing flawless, industrial assembly line aesthetics, then you are fundamentally unworthy of this sliver of aogame steel. Its grinding process is a filter, culling the weak who only see the surface. It is an unfinished ritual. The final 10% of sharpness must be awakened by your own will, through repeated friction and cold water. In this closed state, there is one more detail that commands your attention. Look at this pivot. It has no ball bearings, no Teflon washers, not even a trace of modern lubricant. It is nothing more than a primitive copper rivet. forcibly locking the metal plates together through the sheer physical deformation of a heavy strike. This design is irreversible. With every rotation, the brass and steel engage in a microscopic war of attrition. It serves as a reminder. Tools have a lifespan, and every use is a consumption of its very existence. This sense of fatalism is something precision industrial products can never provide. When you grip this cold, faintly metallic-smelling brass handle, what you feel should not be warmth, but a sense of pure physical oppression. Next, let us listen to the primal sound. We have dismantled its lineage, its shell, and that sliver of Higonokami steel, tightly clamped by soft iron. Now, let us discuss the most expensive cost of this knife, the cost of your willpower. In an era where everything can be automated, the very existence of the Higonokami is a paradox. It is exceptionally difficult to use. It offers no convenient locks, no safety protections. Yet this difficulty is precisely its core value. Through this primitive, resistance-heavy, physical feedback, it forces you to exit the comfort zone fed to you by algorithms. You will realize that this knife is alive. If you forget to wipe it after making a cut, it will swiftly protest with rust. If you neglect to sharpen it, that Higonokami steel will sink into a mediocre slumber. This is exactly the logic I have always emphasized. The world never rewards those who chase surface beauty. It only rewards those who can master complexity and are ruthless with themselves in the shadows. That concludes this episode. Thank you for watching.